All right, so in the last segment we talked about Bob and his what was he doing? No flipping houses, no money down, all of that, right, for $500. But basically, I'm not telling you that it's easy to get rich because it's not. How do you know? Look around you, right? Look at your neighbors, look at everybody else. They're not, right? But that's an example of needs-based motivation. They're going to establish a need you didn't even know you had, and try to get you to pull out $500 and buy their can't fail, get quick rich scheme doing whatever, right? Okay, so moving forward, let's go to look at the expectancy theory of motivation, right? This came from a guy named Vroom, right? Like the noise a car makes, right? Vroom, V-R-O-O-M, right? So the expectancy theory of motivation, I like this one. A lot of people believe in this. A lot of people follow this as a motivational technique, and it's certainly a needs-based theory. All right, so the key components of this. Effort will lead to performance. That's expectancy, right? I expect that a certain level of effort is going to lead to performance. If I try to do this thing, that will happen, right? So if I study hard for a test, I will get an A, right? That's effort will lead to performance. That's expectancy, right? And then we have performance will lead to an outcome. So if I get an A in this class, right, then leads to an outcome. If I get an A in the test, I will get an A in the class, right? And I can couple that together with getting a bunch of A's, right? And that'll lead to this specific outcome that maybe I'm on the dean's list, right? So anything that results from performing a behavior, right? So effort will lead to performance. Performance will lead to an outcome, right? And then this is key. Valence has to be there, so it's the degree of attractiveness or unattractiveness that a particular outcome has. So effort leads to performance, performance will lead to an outcome, and that outcome must have valence, which is to say it must have value to me, the person being motivated, right? And I stress the to me part, the person being motivated, because often that's a key component that's missing. So if any of these components aren't there, you're not motivated, or the person isn't motivated. So for instance, maybe if I understand if I study hard, I'll get an A in the exam. If I get A's in the exam, I'll get A's in the course. But I don't understand why getting A's in the course are important. I'm just not interested in that. I'm fine with a B minus. I couldn't care less. I don't understand the implications of that to me, right? So I don't have any valence for getting an A. Oh, I can get an A? Who cares? Right, I'll take a B minus. I'm just fine with a B minus. I have no intention of working hard to get a good grade, because the good grade, quite frankly, doesn't mean anything to me. Right? So we can look at this from a graphical standpoint. Here's effort to performance expectancy. I need to have the perception that if I try, I will get a certain level of performance. So for instance, when I talk about this in class with the students, I say, if I really exercise hard, right, would I be able to dunk a basketball in a 10-foot hoop? And the answer is no. Believe me, that ship sailed a long time ago, right? So I cannot. So even if I want to dunk a basketball, right, do I exercise hard? No, because I know deep down in my heart that's not happening, right? That is not in the works. So I don't try. Right? So, but if it's something I did thought that if I try hard selling cars, and we have a bunch of customers in here, I would be able to sell cars. But I have to think, first of all, there's the right environment. So we have cars people want to buy. We are open. We have customers, and these customers actually have money for cars, right? So that helps me out. And I have the ability, I have the know-how to sell cars, right? So if I think those are true, then I put in the effort of trying to sell cars, because if I try to sell cars, I can sell a certain number of cars, right? And then there's performance to outcome instrumentality, right? This performance will lead to a certain outcome. So my boss has told me I get $300 for every car I sell, right? So if I try to sell cars, I will sell cars, and if I sell cars, I will get the $300, right? And this $300 I need. I'm not independently wealthy, where I don't need any money. I actually need money for things. Therefore, the $300 has value to me, right? So this is expectancy theory, and if any one of these things is not true, if the perception of any one of these things is not there, then the person won't be motivated. So the person being motivated, must think that effort will lead to the performance. I must think that performance will lead to an outcome, and that outcome has to have value. It has to have valence to me, the person being motivated. So I know in discussions with business owners, they often talk about, yeah, these kids these days, they're not motivated, blah, 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 and I hear it all the time. And when I ask them is, well, what are you doing to motivate them? And invariably, the outcome, the thing they expect to motivate the student might motivate a 60-year-old business owner. It does not, in fact, motivate a 22-year-old single young person who's not connected to that business in any financial way. They're just there for a paycheck. Right. So often that's a clear mistake people make. Right. I'm offering you the wrong thing. That's why you're not motivated. Either you don't trust that this is true, that effort will lead to performance and performance will lead to outcome, or you just don't care about the outcome. So I tell you, oh, you should work hard and get an A in this course. You might think, I'm just fine with a B. I don't see the advantage of getting an A. Therefore, telling you to work hard to get an A is not going to lead you to work hard. If I talked about getting an A will raise your GPA, a good GPA will open doors for you, and you'll be able to do other things with a high GPA and all that, then you're just fine with that, right? Then maybe that works for you, but if you don't, you don't. So I think of it as trying to train your cat with dog treats, right? Cats don't like dog treats. I can offer the cat all the dog treats I have, and it's not going to work. She's going to still ignore me because, she's a cat, but also because she doesn't like dog treats. Now, on the other hand, if I try to train my dog with cat treats, I got some interested eyes looking at me, right? Because they love cat treats, and the dog's all about trying to get more treats, right? So that's expectancy theory. You must expect, right? It has to be your perception, the person being motivated, that if I do this effort, it will lead to this performance, right? And I can't let the environment get in the way. I can't let the ability get in the way, all of that. And that this performance will lead to an outcome, right? That's the instrument. The performance leads to an outcome, right? And most importantly, the outcome must have valence. It must be important to me, the person being motivated, not the old person setting up this motivational system to motivate young people. It has to motivate, right? It has to have value to the young person, whatever it happens to be. Now, where it gets tricky is when you have a lot of diversity, right? So if I'm going to offer, I don't know, say concert tickets, right? And my workers are very different in age. So I can offer concert tickets to classical music concert, and maybe some of the older ones don't really like that, and maybe some of the younger ones don't. Or I could offer concert tickets to some, I don't know, some hip hop show. Most of the younger people are all about that, and they think that'd be a great thing to win. For the 65-year-olds, not so much, right? Maybe they got somebody they can give the tickets to, but quite frankly, right, you can kind of see the differences there. So that's Vroom's expectancy theory of motivation.